Okay, first interview, Graham.
Do you know what questions you got to ask?
Yep.
Hope you're not cheeky. How's your finger?
So, where were you born?
Inverell, in New South Wales. It's a very quiet country town that looks after all the people in the farms all around that area.
Oh.
Lot of wolves growing up there. Have you been there?
No, I don't think I've been there.
Well, I was only little when I left there. I went from there to Canberra. Went to boarding school in Sydney. Then I went back to Canberra and worked with the government. I was a public servant. Now all those silly politicians, you don't enjoy working with them. They all tell lies.
Did you play any sport?
Played a lot of sport. I represented Canberra in Australian rules football, rugby league and cricket. In Melbourne, the Carlton Football Club.
Why'd you like sport? What's your favourite thing about sport?
You meet a lot of people, you get rid of all your energy and it makes you strong. I had 5 sons, they all mad on sport, they love sport. Because my father was a good sportsman. He was always encouraged us to play sport the same as I got my boys into it. Well, they all played sport all their life. And then they got older and they got like their father and got old. I think sport's a big thing for families. It brings them all together. Your family play sport?
Yeah, a little bit. Sister swims, I play basketball.
You too?
I play soccer.
You're going to play in the Olympics?
Probably not. I'm not the best.
Oh, yeah. Think about it, you might get there. No matter what sport you play, as long as you put your whole effort into it. You've got to put everything into it. If not, you might as well not play at all, because you let down all your teammates if you don't.
True.
In work it was a little bit different to sport, because everyone was trying to help the same ones in sport, same team. But in politics it's all over the place.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about?
I want to know how many thousand you're getting for the interview. You'll get them a job in television now. Collect your money on the way out.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Haberfield in the western suburbs. That's on the Parramatta River. The house I lived in was owned by my grandfather. He came out from Glasgow in Scotland. It's a heritage suburb now. They're not allowed to go any higher than 1 story. And it's all glass and lead light. And do you know what that is? Yes. Yeah. Well, that sort of made it the heritage, and it was lovely.
What activities did you do as a child?
Oh, I rode a bike. I rode one roller skate and my girlfriend rode the other roller skate. Went swimming and we played a lot of backyard games, like tiddlywinks and silly things you've never heard of. We had a backyard gate between the houses and we'd go between each other's house and eat plums and apples and climb the trees. We had a lot of backyard fruit then. So that was good, and we could sit on top of the house where they had outdoor plants and everything like that.
What jobs did you have?
Oh, I was a hairdresser. I set wigs for the men in the courts. We used to dry clean these because you can imagine wearing them, they'd get very smelly and very, had to be redone, reset all the time. And I was in a big building that's pulled down now. When the Queen came, we stood on the roof and we watched the Queen when she came out here to Sydney a long time ago. It was good fun. I used to belong to a church and I used to teach scripture and do many things involving that in the church and so forth. And just seeing that, that everything ran well in the house. We weren't allowed to have a lot of careers, and I didn't have any ambition in those days. I think I tried to further it as I grew older, so I hope it worked.
What are you most proud of yourself doing throughout your lifetime?
That's a hard one. When you've, had quite a few years, I think 3 children. That was the biggest challenge, and but I was lucky because I used to collect a lot of Sara Lee cakes and ice them and stash them in the freezer, and they thought I was a wonderful cook. So I got away with that. They used our house as a base because they were all intellectual and they all loved their tea. They never drank, they never smoked, and that went on until they, went and got their uni degrees.
What would you tell someone as advice to be happy or successful in life?
Happiness is something that you've got to work on. In my book it was, having 3, 4 men in the house. You've got to just keep patient and keep your temper, that's the main thing. And have lots of friends. Lots of friends is a big thing, and to, circulate with them. And happiness doesn't come like that. You've got to work. Well, I'm sure all these men have to work on it too, had to work on it. And, it follows through then. I loved being a mother, and I did lots of things. I loved cooking, and I taught scripture and all that, and I made sure we went out and on picnics and out for meals, and you've got to involve everything. That helps towards it. It doesn't make it, the happiness, but that's something we've all got to work. I'm still trying to work on it too. But anyway, I'm here still, so that's the main thing, yeah. But thank you, you've been nice interviewers, yes. Thank you very much.
Where were you born?
In Dordrecht, in Holland.
Were you born during the war?
Yeah, was a baby.
Did you travel places out of your country?
Yeah,
Where did you go?
to Paris and to Austria and to Switzerland and Italy.
I heard you lived on a boat. Was it fun?
Yes.
Did you travel on it, or did you just stay in one area?
No, stay in one area. I did on the boat. Some days the boys come, and he did a lot of fishing, so I stay with the fishing, and we had a dock on the boat, so it was nice.
What was your favourite job?
Nursing.
When did you nurse? How old were you?
17 years to 28 years. I was in Australia with the college in Newport.
What did you enjoy about nursing?
Looking after people. And I did like it more in the nurse with the little kids.
What are you most proud of in your life?
When I did the nursing.
Did you experience any big changes?
Yeah, a lot of changes. Technology is getting more advanced now. Just from the beginning was difficult, and then till later the technology was good.
Do you have any advice you'd give young people?
To be honest and nice and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where were you born?
I was born in Tasmania, a nice little island state south of Australia, but I've been other places, so I wasn't condemned to one and only place where I was born.
Did you work, and what kind, if yes?
Well, my history is in the public service. Strangely enough, I started off on a farm. My parents were farmers, and with all the active things and things that you had to work very hard on, farming, comprised of sheep and cattle and pigs and small fruits and all the things that you find on a country farm. Apart from some service in the Air Force, which intervened at the time, I made my way to the Collaroy Sub-Treasury, which was located in Hobart. So I thought, this is pretty good. This is the sort of atmosphere and activity that I liked. From then on, I progressed to going to Canberra, I had a job in Canberra. Then eventually I was sent to Brisbane, to the Brisbane office, because we're right in the middle of decimal currency, introducing decimal currency. So I was sent up there to take charge of the office and to be involved in the activity of introducing decimal currency. That was a very interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed the time working and living and being up there. I consider myself to be fortunate and most satisfied. I moved about a lot, I've met a lot of people, I was involved in a lot of things. It was sort of fulfilment of what I thought I should do. Don't laugh. I think from that point of view, I led a fairly successful career in the public service.
What were your hobbies when you were a child?
A farm, a mixed farm, is generally made up for a lot of things. It's made up of produce and things that you can eat and things that you send away to the markets on, food markets.
What was your favourite food back then?
Living on the farm, of course, it was always raspberries and strawberries. But fish, I like any sort of fish.
What was the most important thing you learnt from living on a farm?
Given that you are that person who doesn't stand easy all the time, works with great satisfaction in doing the things, as I just mentioned, when you come to killing sheep and send them off to markets and breeding them, and cattle, the know-how.
What achievement are you most proud of?
I'd say the decimal currency. Well, this was something big, really big compared to what you'd normally expect for a whole country, for a country. It's good to see, and the healthy signs of things are going to come our way now with what's coming online.
What was technology like when you were a child?
I'm amazed to think that the things that have happened and things that were possible then just don't bear a semblance to anything that we know now. I think that the development of from days when we thought we could never ever portray our voices longer than from me to you or outside the door. I think it's been a marvellous thing, and from what all the talk is about, I think there's a lot more to come.
What did you enjoy doing as a child?
Oh, I didn't have much of a childhood like today's is. I had to help at home all the time after school because we had a hotel. I used to have to wash up. There was no dishwashers then. So you had to wash up and help around, yes.
What was technology like when you were a child?
Everything started to come slowly, you know. But you didn't have any bank cards and stuff like you have today. If you didn't have the money, you didn't buy anything. You saved first. And you had a much better life. You didn't have all the arguments and problems when the bills come. Yeah, now I reckon the older time was better the life than now. Yeah, I wouldn't like to be young again today. No.
Do you have any children?
Yes, but adopted. I couldn't have my own. So I got a boy and a girl, yes.
How did you meet your husband?
I was managing a tobacco shop in Switzerland. Those days you were allowed to smoke. And then he was a client, he came in one day and he talked. And there was another man there and they talked together. And then when he left, I thought, he wasn't too bad looking. And I said to the guy, what's his name? So he told me, so I put his name on a piece of paper and stuck it on the till. And the next day when he came again, I told his name and he gave me a second look. And then he invited me after when I closed the shop. So we went on the Lake Zurich. We sat on a bench. We had a bit of a chat. And then I looked, suddenly he didn't answer. When I looked, he was asleep next to me on the bench. So I got off the bench, left him sitting there, and I hopped on the next tram and went back to my room. Monday he came and apologised, and then he invited me for dinner. And that's the end of the story. That's we got together from then on, and then we got engaged. And he was just back from Canada after 4.5 years, and he said, oh, I don't want to like here anymore, I want to go back to Canada, or I got a brother in Australia, you can choose where you want to go. So I said, okay, Australia.
What advice would you give for a happy life?
Happy life. Well, be happy what you have, try your best, and when you get married, be happy. Don't argue with the man, you don't win. Just be happy, make a nice life together. If you got a problem, go and have a dinner together, have a nice glass of wine, have a chat, sort it out, that's most important. If you got a nice marriage, then you have a happy life. I was nearly 60 years married, by a few months we missed it before my husband died, yeah. And over there, if you're a widow, you take the husband's wedding ring off and you wear it on your right hand.
Is that his marriage ring?
That's his wedding ring, yeah. So if you see somebody with 2 rings, you know they're available again, they both have the rings on.
Were you born during the war?
No, I was born just before the war. My uncle was second in command of the Australian forces with Sir General Blamey during the war, and my brother enlisted in the war, but unfortunately it was when the bombing of Darwin, and he was a driver, the Americans hit his truck and the truck caught fire and he got burned to death, unfortunately. I've got one sister left out of my family, but I've still got my children. All my children are still alive. I've got 5 children. I've got 4 boys and a girl.
Did you have a favourite job?
I grew up in a big gold mining town, and as a child we used to wait and we'd ride our bikes, and at 8 o'clock at night they'd bring the gold up. So we'd wait until 8 o'clock and we'd go across to the mines. You couldn't tell whether it was gold or not because they had to crush the quartz. It was like rock with gold in it. We were able to say, oh, we've seen the gold. Yeah. But that was a big deal for us. But we had a lot of fun as kids because we only had pictures. We didn't have TV. We only had radio in those days. So for entertainment, it was mainly, we made our own entertainment. But it was very healthy life, I think.
Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies, yes, I was a commercial artist. Myers had big art departments and we were the elite, if you understand. We were special because we were the artists. Everything was done in newspaper work, like there was nothing done by computers in my day. Everything was done by hand. I didn't know computers, there was none around.
Yeah. Did you travel places out of your country?
Yes, I've been to India, I've been to Bali, I've been to Israel, I've been to England and Rome. So I've been to quite a few places. That's all the places I wanted to go.
Do you give us any advice for a good life?
What I want to impress on you kids is to ask your grandfather and your great uncles, where do you come from? History is a wonderful thing, and don't ever let it slip through your fingers before it's too late. That's where we come from, and that's what we're made of, and that's what makes people.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rochester, Kent, England, which is on the south coast of the United Kingdom.
What job did you have?
My first job was as a nursery nurse. In England we don't call them kindergartens because that's a German word. A lady came round to school, I went to a co-ed school, and said, is there anybody who likes children that like to work with them? And I put my hand up. And she said, would you like to come and work in the nursery school? And I said, I'd love it. So she said, would you be allowed? And I said, oh yes. And I went home and told my sister that I was going to go to work, and she said, you are not. You are going to school and going to university. And I said, well, I've left school and I'm starting work on Monday.
When did you discover your love for children?
I was just born with it. I always gravitated to children when they were around.
Why?
Well, they were always so happy. Well, most of the time anyway. And children do respond to happiness. If you're happy, they're happy.
What's the one thing that you've enjoyed the most in your life?
Friendship. Friends have meant a great deal to me over the years. I've had many friends of different nationalities and different parts in life. Some have been wealthy, some have been poor, but they've all been good friends.
What was your most memorable achievement?
Well, I would have to say being a mother of my 4 children.
What was your husband like?
Which one? My first husband was a bomber pilot in the Australian Air Force, and then after that he was a scientist at CSIRO. Unfortunately, that marriage didn't last, and then after 3 years after the divorce, I remarried, and I was married for 40 years to that man, and he was a loving, gentle, we had a very happy marriage, but he died 6 years ago. That's why I'm here.
What's it like living here in the retirement village?
I love living in the retirement village. The staff here are wonderful, very kind, and there's so much to do that I've hardly got time to catch up on everything else I should be doing, like writing letters.
What part of Italy did you come from?
I was born in Roma, Via del Boschetto, I don't remember the number. I was very happy there. I was with a lot of kids and playing all the time, so I was very happy.
What did you do in Rome?
Yeah, my father had a restaurant, a hotel, and a milk bar.
What did you enjoy doing as a child?
I was playing soccer. I was number 7, so I was very active in that respect. Because I got long legs, so I'm very fast.
Yeah. Did it make you feel happy?
Yeah. To watch soccer, it was for me a very happy place.
Who's your favourite soccer team?
Roma. I was born in Roma.
What made you come to Australia?
My family came over here. We were in Africa. There was a lot of terrorism. People killing each other, so it wasn't a peaceful place. They come here and then they called me and I come to Australia. I had a job with a restaurant, but was very few people come over, so
What makes you happy?
I'm always happy, I don't know why. Maybe I'm happy all the time. I never get cranky. I never lose my temper.
What makes you so happy?
Because I'm a lucky person. I got a beautiful mother, beautiful father. My cousins are all very nice to me, so I'm very happy.
Is there anything you'd like to say to friends or family that's watching this interview?
No, that I am happy, that I got no problems, I'm very happy.
Can you tell us where you were born?
I was born in Mossman, in Sydney. We left Mossman when I was 7, and we went up to Gordon, so I don't remember much about Mossman at all. The doctor in Mossman had told my parents that the Mossman, the sea air was bad for us children, we might get bronchitis, and best to go up to the mountains. So we went up to the North Shore. I don't think I give that advice today, but he did then.
When you were younger, did you work?
After I left school, I was a librarian and didn't know what to be, but my school friends were working, joined up to go in the library school, so I thought, oh, I'll go there too.
Did you do any travelling when you were younger?
When I was young, went over to see Grandma, and that was just before war started. And we were in England when war broke out. And then we came back during the war on a little passenger ship. Very risky, boats were being sunk all over the place, but we were lucky. We had an RAF escort. They're telling us as a submarine they'd go back into the rough water, so we went back into the rough water, Bad Biscay, and continued zigzagging, so it was fun, yeah. The captain didn't sleep till we got back to Australia because it was quite hazardous for him. We all had to sleep on deck. Our rooms were blacked out. There were holes and they had sort of barriers on the top, cross things, and we young ones had to sleep on them. That was fun, on these bumpy things, but it was all an adventure.
Were you ever afraid?
I wasn't afraid. It was an adventure. It was crazy. I don't suppose I knew what could happen, so I wasn't afraid.
What did you learn while living in war times?
Not much, because I was in England at the beginning of the war and the restrictions really hadn't kicked in. We had a mock raid one time. We had to go to everyone had to have an air raid shelter in their back garden, and we had to mock practice, air raid practice. But I was there very early on when nothing happened. And when I got back to Australia, I felt for my school friends who I knew were going through the bombing, I was very conscious of the fact that, my school friends were suffering and being bombed, and it changed my attitude to the war, of course.
What have you learned in life that would be useful for younger people?
Not to worry, to enjoy it and make the best of it, because worse things might happen, to realise, oh, I'll survive this. And I think if you can be happy with most things, you make life a lot easier for yourselves. Try and be happy and kind to people. You make friends and it'll be the best thing. Well, that's all, same as everyone says.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in London and went to school in London until I was 17. I loved my school years. My years at school in London were very happy. London is such a busy place. You go everywhere we didn't have a car. You used buses to go everywhere. I worked in the sports, and netball, hockey, swimming, extra lessons. I was back and forward. Your whole life is taken up riding on buses in London.
What jobs did you have in London?
I was appointed to a job in London, but the wartime came and the office was moved out of London to a resort area in the north of England. So I worked there for 4 years. I was asked to go and do training to become a coding and ciphering officer so that I could be sent overseas to send messages back and forward to London. So I worked in London, then I went overseas to do the same job. Coding and ciphering was a very busy job,
and it was a 24-hour job. You had to be on call 24 hours because it was all urgent messages, and it was wartime, and those messages contained very important things happening in the world between the Allies, but you've got to remember you couldn't have your correspondence interrupted by enemy countries, which they tried to do, and spoil the message. So when you got it, you really sometimes couldn't do it. But that's what happened in wartime. You're a little band of people alone. You're not with a big country anymore. You're just your own associates. So you do become close to those few people. And we were welcomed there by masses of soldiers. Nothing more enjoyable than a lot of soldiers when you're 21.
What was your most memorable achievement?
I've all been happy with my life. This was a good achievement, and it was very well worthwhile. And then I married, and I suppose that's an achievement. I've been married 72 years.
What are you most proud of yourself doing in your lifetime?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'm proud of being a good mother. Really, I was a good mother, and I've got 3 great children. But you don't feel proud. It's your duty. You just do it. Make sure you do the best you can always.
What would you tell someone as advice to be happy?
You've got to take your opportunities when they come. You've got to see where you're needed. You've got to work hard. You've got to be part of everything. Make sure you help others and you get in there and do your share of work. And it just comes to you. You've just got to work hard and be a pleasant person.
Judith. What year did you come to Australia?
1965.
What made you come to Australia?
Just interest, and I wanted to see somewhere other than England and Europe, so I came to Australia.
Were you alive in World War II?
Yes.
What was it like?
That too was exciting because I was only 9. I didn't ever know anything like it before, so it was all new.
Did you ever get close to a bomb?
Yes. Somebody dropped a very large bomb in the back garden of the house that I lived in. So when I woke up in the morning, there was a great big hole in the ground.
How did you feel?
Excited.
What made it exciting?
Well, I'd never seen anything like that before.
When you woke up to like the sound of the bomb, were you like a bit scared or?
No, I wasn't scared because I'd lived through other bombs going off around me, and so I wasn't really. I'd got used to it by that stage.
What did you do for a job?
I did secretarial work, and I did all sorts of things. I worked for a building society, and I worked for a quantity surveyor, and I worked in a ship, in the ship's office, and all sorts of things as a secretary.
What did you enjoy about working on a ship?
Oh, it was exciting to be on a ship, way out at sea and seeing different places and that sort of thing.
What are you most proud of in your life?
Oh, goodness me. My marriage. Because I married very late in life, and I didn't think I was ever going to get married. And then I met my husband and fell in love with him. He was in the same ship as I was working in, and he was working on the ship too. I saw him across a crowded room.
And what made him stand
I knew that was the man for me.
What was it about him that made him so special?
The way he looked, and the way he sounded, he had a wonderful voice. And I fell in love with his voice and with his looks.
At what age did you get married to him?
I was 39 and 9 months, because he wouldn't marry a 40-year-old.
What advice would you give for a happy life?
To get on well with people.
Where were you born?
London, England.
What job did you have?
I was a representative for a washing machine company in England, and I also did it out here.
Did you have any hobbies?
Yes, I liked playing bridge, knitting, sewing, gardening. I love gardening.
Why did you like those hobbies?
Because it kept your brain going and it got you out mixing with different people. There used to be about sort of a crowd of us, always. I'd go 4 times a week and there'd be at least 80 of us.
What is your favourite animal?
Dog, because they become affectionate towards you and they do as they're told most of the time.
What's the secret to living a good long life?
Enjoying everything every day, eating good food, getting to know people, going out whenever you can, have a pleasant time, and generally enjoy the world, I think. There's a whole world out there to enjoy. You've just got to have the nerve to go and see it when you get a bit older.
Why is it important to see the world?
Well, I think curiosity. Don't you want to see the world? Wouldn't you like to go to another country and see how they live? Would you like to go to China, for instance, just to see how they live? Or go to South Africa?
Yes. Yes.
You would, yes. And then you'll get to know how other people live. Because the more you know about how other people live, the less likely there is that we'll have wars. We won't be afraid of each other. That's one of the things we've got to stop being afraid of each other. Everybody is of the same value in their country, so you learn to like them for what they are. So when you get old enough and you can go on these trips, you go, because it'll give you a much better outlook on life.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
Anything else I'd like to say? Yes, I'm glad to have the opportunity to meet you two young people. And I hope you're glad you met me. And remember that you've got a whole life in front of you and so many things you can do if you want to. And you like your school, so that's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do the best you can there. And from there you'll go forward to doing other things. We need you young people to learn as much as you can, because there's so much you can learn now. When I was your age, there wasn't much to learn, because that was 96 years ago. So, do your parents would they like you to go travelling?
Yes. Yeah.
Good, good.